The following is a production of Jenks FM. Thank you for your support. You're listening to Football Unscripted with Jenks.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Football Unscripted with me, Jenks. Today we're going to talk about the semi-final, which was against Melbourne Victory at Mount Smart. Auckland FC had a 1-0 win on the first leg, and they needed to protect that at Mount Smart. With either a draw or a win on the night would have been enough to send Auckland through. Melbourne finished 5th in the league table. Auckland finished top, and Auckland were favourites on the night to get past Melbourne and make it to the grand final, where they would have hosted it here in Auckland. It was a tight first half, 0-0 going into the break. In the second half, Melbourne managed to score a goal on 55 minutes through Machach. It was a shot which took a bit of a deflection off Pineker's knee, and it put it just beyond the reach of Paulson, who would have had it covered otherwise. Melbourne then had the momentum, and only 5 minutes later, Fornaroli scored to put Melbourne 2-0 up on the night, which would be 2-1 on aggregate, sending them through. That's when Auckland FC really sort of sparked into life, and you could see a lot more urgency. Their usual substitution of Tommy Smith coming on to bolster the defence didn't happen, because now we needed to go all-out attack to get back into the tie. There was a lot of frustration, a lot of first touches that were quite loose. A lot of players not making enough room for passes to come in. And it just seemed that Melbourne Victory had our number and they were closing us down. We weren't able to get the ball in the back of the net. There was one time when a cross came in and Rogerson scored a header. It was deemed that the ball went out of play. The linesman flagged for it. And then from the TV cameras, there was no conclusive evidence that it went out of play. It definitely wasn't out of play when it was on the deck. What the linesman would have signalled was that the curve of the ball as it was crossed in came out of the field of play and before coming back in for Rogerson to score. They didn't even check VAR properly to make sure that the right call was made. I'm not 100% sure if that's why we're using VAR for the for checking to see if a ball's gone out of play, more so for offsides, fouls, handballs. But I don't see many VAR reviews for balls that have gone out of play and come back in. Not too sure whether that is a standard thing or not. Anyway, the goal didn't stand, and there was uproar because there was no evidence that the ball went out. So unfortunately, that was chalked off. It remained 2-0 to Melbourne on the night until the final whistle blew, and Melbourne were through to the grand final, where they will now face Melbourne City. Melbourne City had the later game against Western United, and Western United couldn't turn things around for an all-Melbourne final at AAMI Park in Melbourne. Auckland FC, the journey, what a journey it was. It's been an amazing season. We couldn't have asked for anything better. We never would have thought that we would be sitting on top of the table for the majority of the season. I think straight away we had those 6 wins in a row, and we weren't conceding any goals. We did then hit a little bit of a dip when Dan Hall had his injury. We had to play around with our team a little bit, change the formation, change the system, and eventually we got back to our winning ways, but it was a little bit inconsistent towards the end, and we had a couple of losses, and a big loss that was to Western United on the last game of the season, just prior to the playoffs. When we did come back for the playoffs, the semi-final, we had a week's rest, whereas Melbourne Victory had to go to Western Sydney to get a win to stay within the competition. We played a very, very good game over in AAMI Park for the first leg. We came up 1-0 winners there, and that was back to the Auckland of the earlier part of the season, and it seemed like something was on the line, so it sparked us into life, and we had something to really aim for. In the second leg, I'm not sure if we went with a bit of a defensive approach, trying to protect rather than go for goals. We did have our regular formation, 4-4-2. What we've seen all season, Paulson in goal, Sakai right back, Hall and Peinecker in the centre of defence, De Vries left back. Verstraete and Gallegos were holding the middle of the park. Rogerson starting on the right of midfield, and Francois was on the left, and up front, two up front, Mai and Randall. Quite a flat performance up front. We were solid in defence, and it was two lapses of concentration which allowed Melbourne to score 2 from their 2 shots, which were on target. Melbourne, they had just 2 shots the whole match. They were on target, and those are the 2 goals that went in. Auckland had 11 shots, only 3 on target, not able to hit the back of the net. Auckland's possession, we had 55% possession against Melbourne's 45%. We put together a lot more passes as well, but no killer passes at the end of those moves to create a goal. Fouls, we both put in 11 fouls each. Both had 3 yellow cards each as well. And Auckland didn't have any offsides, but Melbourne had 3 corners. We had 7 corners to their 3. So looking at the statistics, we had what it took to get the win on the night, to score on the night. All we needed to do was score. We couldn't get the ball in there. There was another chance from Moreno, who headed it just past the post, just in the last few moments of the game. The crowd was amazing. We had a record crowd of 29,148. So that's the highest, and it beats the Derby Day, which we had back at the beginning of this year when we played Phoenix and beat them 6-1. We had extra seats that were put on by Go Media Stadium. They put in an extra 2,700 seats behind the goal by the North Bank, and they were up in the corners as well, which looked really good. It was so nice to see a 4-sided stadium with stands behind the north end of the pitch. The Melbourne Victory fans, they were tucked away in that temporary seating in the very corner. There was a small number of them, and they made the journey over. So good on them for making the journey over in their small numbers. And they could party into the night and travel back to Melbourne probably the next day in a very good mood, ready for this coming weekend's grand final. Auckland fans, they were loud. The port distributed flags amongst the port area, little miniature flags, blue, white, black flags, and everyone was waving them. We had all our large flags going on as well. It was a real spectacle, and it just looked really, really good. It felt good. It was loud. Probably not as loud as I've seen previously. The singing didn't spread as much as I've seen before. It was a bit quiet in parts. It was only the main focal part of the port, where Chris is usually with the loudspeaker. Towards the end of the game as well, you could sort of feel that it wasn't going to be our night, it wasn't going to be our season, and that this amazing journey was over for us. And then the players, after the final whistle, the players came and just stood and just watched as the fans of the port sang, cheered, waved their flags, despite defeat, despite going out, despite the end of the season. It was quite a special moment where I could see the players were really taking it in, watching the fans, and I was looking around the stadium as I was waving my flag as well. I was looking around and seeing people thinking, wow, it's not sad that we lost on the night, it's sad that the journey's finished for the season, and that's it for the 24-25 season. It brought us so many memories, so many things to look back on, talk about, time spent with like-minded people. We've waited many, many years in Auckland for professional football to follow, someone to get behind, and we did it really, really well. I think we've set the standard really high for the rest of the A-League to follow, where we filled the stadium, almost 30,000 people, and it was bouncing. It was such a great time. Looking through the crowd, you see families, you see dads and sons, little girls going to their first season of football, and everyone's given their time to be there, to cheer the team, and it was it was a very special moment. Just that very end part of the night, looking at the crowd, feeling the emotion, the despair, the anger that the call wasn't made for the goal to stand, that it wasn't reviewed correctly. But yeah, what a night it was. Under the lights, the first time we played a home match completely under the lights. It was a few weeks back, well, almost 4 weeks back, when we did have the game kicking off in daylight, but it ended in darkness. But yeah, this one was completely in darkness, under the lights. It was a very unique experience, something we've all been wanting for such a long time, living in Auckland, living in New Zealand. I know the Phoenix, they've been going now for a while down in Wellington. They came close to success last year, also losing to Melbourne Victory in a semi-final after a solid regular season. But yeah, Auckland, it really felt like it was ours, and it was ours to lose. We were the best team over the whole course of the season. Even though we did become a bit inconsistent towards the end, we were still ahead of everybody else. And the job that the whole club has done in putting the things in place, a great structure, great marketing, it's just felt really well done, and it feels like it's going to be for the future now. It's going to be no repeat of what's happened in the past with New Zealand football. This is now correctly in place, and it's going to offer a whole lifetime of experiences, I hope. The A-League, hopefully they see what's been done here in Auckland. The other clubs who have visited Mount Smart and seen the full stands rocking and want to emulate and create that themselves. Here's hoping that that's how the rest of the league will sort of go. I was chatting with a friend who has said the A-League has not been as good as it has been in the past. Crowds not getting up to the numbers that they should do. rivals with rival fans, a little bit of trouble with the police and etc. But if the clubs all get behind it properly, look at the model that Auckland's done, and follow that a little bit, we can have like a really long, successful A-League life. That would be great. So now, yeah, that's it. We say goodbye to our goalkeeper, Alex Paulson. He was on loan with us from Bournemouth. He'd go back to Bournemouth in England, and I've heard a rumour that he might be loaned out again, possibly to Hibernian, who is also under the Bill Foley umbrella of clubs with Auckland and Bournemouth. He could go to Scotland, Hibernian. Not too sure on the level of Scotland. Maybe a championship club as well is possible. We also will say goodbye to Max Mata. He's on loan from Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury had just got relegated to League Two over in England. I hear they'll be needing his services. Also, Toomey, he's out of contract. Haven't heard anything about him, whether or not he's going to stay. Rumours are he's going to move on. And also Rogerson, his contract is up as well. I believe he's holding off on signing an extension and staying with the club. So he might be waiting to see what offers might come to the table before committing to Auckland for another season. We've got a couple of other players who have one more season on their contract. Well, the majority actually have a season on their contract, and there are a few who have a couple more as well. So we'll see how it goes now in the off-season, whether Auckland can get what they need to add to the team. I feel we need a really strong number 9 striker of high stature, someone who's going to get on the end of those De Vries crosses and score some goals with a real physical presence up front. Or someone I didn't mention as well, Moreno, he's come to the end of his contract, and from a post which is on social media at the moment suggests that him and his family are going to say goodbye to Auckland after their season here. So Moreno is likely to move on and not extend his stay here in Auckland. Moreno's been a great impact sub. He started a few matches, but I feel what he brings as the energy when he comes on, he's got that fight. He scored some great goals, and he's proved quite very valuable for the team in a lot of the 3 points that we've had throughout the season. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the team. We've got to fill the goalkeeper position as well. Our reserve keeper, Vod, whether or not he will become our number 1, or if we're going to go elsewhere to bring in someone of a higher level as our main goalkeeper. We'll see what happens in the off season. The final of the A-League is next weekend at AAMI Park. The two Melbourne clubs will be playing against each other. And the Auckland players now, they can go into a post-season of celebration that we had such a great season, such an amazing journey. The beginning of our journey as a club, as a professional club, and hope to see everyone else back next season with some additions. We could do with a more dangerous winger. I know Segacic. There is rumours he might be going to Europe from Sydney. He would be a great addition. He has that connection with Corica as well. And then, I feel if we had a striker, a proper number 9, that would give us so many more goals, and someone who can get 15 plus goals in a season easily with the quality of the crosses that come in, especially from De Vries as well. The back four, probably the best back four of the whole league. We were without Dan Hall for quite a substantial time. Tommy Smith came in, did an awesome job, so reliable. Dan Hall, he's got that extra bit of pace. He made an amazing challenge as well on the night, on the weekend. Melbourne almost scored a goal from a different part of the game, and he slid in to stop that going in. It was in the first half, I think it was. And it was such a stunning sliding challenge from Hall. He's been amazing. Peinecker, he almost got the equaliser for us as well on aggregate. It was deep into the match when he had a shot clear on goal and it just wasn't powerful enough and at the right angle, and the Melbourne Victory defender got it off the line. So Peinecker, he's an amazing defender as well as getting forward. He scored a couple of goals and a couple of crackers as well. De Vries, obviously, Sakai on both sides, very, very solid. It starts a great platform for the team going into next season, where whichever keeper comes in, they're going to have a great shield in front of them, and hopefully we don't give the keeper too much to do. We've been absolutely solid with our defence throughout the whole season. Attacking wise, there can be quite a few improvements. I'm hoping for a good number 9. With the eligibility of players as well, we can get 5 foreigners, or 5 non-Aussies and Kiwis. And if Moreno isn't to continue with us, that opens up a place where we could potentially bring in an international, someone from overseas, as our striker. Thanks very much for listening to the podcast or watching, whether it's on Spotify or YouTube. Please subscribe. Please enter any comments and suggestions that you may have. I really appreciate you tuning in and hope to see you next time on Football Unscripted with me, Jenks.
Jenks FM 109.2.